Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Home Cooking 101. Today we are making a very simple and delicious bolognese sauce. For those of you who are new, my name is Rosa and I am the mama of our plant-based family of 7. I am really passionate about food. I grew up in Southeast Asia, in Taiwan, in Australia. I've traveled around the world a lot when I was younger, and I grew up eating a ton of really good food. So I really know my way around the kitchen, and I just really love to eat good food. If you're new to the channel, we started a new series called Home Cooking 101. These videos are very basic. These are to help those of you who struggle or are stressed out in the kitchen measuring things, and I am here to just help you, teach you to cook without the stress of measuring, without the stress of following a strict recipe. In our household, I like to cook freehand. Even with baking most of the time, I do like to freehand a lot of our baked goods, and I want to teach you some of those skills. So today I am taking you along to cook one of our favorite family favorites, and that is spaghetti bolognese. I'm not Italian, but I really love spaghetti bolognese. And so, of course, we are not going to use any meat. We are a plant-based family. We are going to be using lentils. I prefer using lentils in this recipe just because of the texture. It's kind of meaty. It's kind of like minced meat. And so, let's get in the kitchen and I'm going to show you how we make spaghetti bolognese without all the stress of measuring. Let's go. First things first, we're going to be making our mirepoix. For those of you who don't know what mirepoix is basically just onions, carrots, and celery. You can use garlic if you want to. We don't have garlic. Actually, we may have garlic. We have like a few cloves of garlic. So the main goal whenever you're chopping these carrots and celery is to chop them kind of in small pieces. Isaiah already started chopping them. They're a little bit too big. So, I mean, you can technically make it this thick if you want to, but it's a little thick for our taste, so we're gonna chop it up even smaller.
Mama, you need to cut one more like this.
We want to kind of resemble little meat pieces because we want the vegetables kind of dissolve and be part of the sauce. So it's really important that you, if you can, just take the time to cut it small. Here, so you can cut this. We already have a little bit of mirepoix chopped up here. Now you can see some of these onions are kind of large in chunks. You can leave it that way. I prefer to chop it up a little bit smaller, but since we already have this prepped, we also have some celery prepped into small little chunks like this as well. That's going to be perfect for our spaghetti sauce or our bolognese sauce. Can you chop these smaller, please? Since we're a larger family, I like to double up on our sauce. So in terms of like how many carrots and how many celery and stuff, you can really by all means just go for however many you want. Generally speaking, I like to go about 2 or 3 medium-sized carrots, maybe like 2 large stalks of celery, and 1 whole onion for 1 batch of spaghetti sauce. If you're making more, of course, you can just double it. If you are making less, you can always just go for less as well. In terms of lentils, my preferred lentil is the red lentil because it just kind of melts into the sauce very nicely, and it gives a little bit of a meaty texture. Today we just have soaked some green lentils. We like to soak our lentils because they aid in digestion. They kind of help just break it down a little bit. So we like to soak all of our beans and things like that whenever we are using them. See, we just put all of our vegetables in our little pot here. We're going to saute it down. We like to caramelize it if we have time. If you don't, I mean, you can still make sauce, but it's not going to build up that flavor. You want to caramelize these vegetables. I have the stove on probably like medium high. We're going to saute this down until the vegetables got some color to it. I know traditionally you're supposed to use Olive oil, we didn't use olive oil, we just used grapeseed oil. The smoke point on olive oil is a little bit lower, so we prefer just the grapeseed oil. I'm going to salt this layer. We're going to season them layer by layer, so that way the salt kind of draws out the moisture and also helps with the seasoning. Another really simple ingredient that you want to get ready is passata, which is basically like the Italian version of crushed, or like just whole tomatoes that they kind of crush a little bit. It's kind of like a tomato sauce, or I just use some crushed tomatoes. It's a canned organic tin can of crushed tomatoes. I find that the crushed tomatoes have a better texture rather than using like a tomato sauce or like diced tomatoes. I prefer crushed tomatoes. It's because we're a larger family. We have 2 larger cans. This is a 28 ounce, so we have 2 of them. And then the pasta that we're going to use is just some organic pasta. This is our the preferred brand is just Simple Truth Organic from our Smiths, or if you have like a Kroger affiliate, that's just where we get this from. You can definitely use the sauce for like lasagna as well. We like to use the sauce for anything, lasagna, anything that can use a red sauce for. Come along, you can see, I'm going to close up for you really quick, but you can see that the vegetables have developed some color on them. That's what you like, that's what you want to see. It's kind of browning up. I've cooked this for about 5 minutes or so on about medium high. And yes, our vegetables are not chopped perfectly, but you know, it'll still make some good sauce. So I'm gonna let this go for another 5 minutes. All right, so our little vegetable mixture is ready for the lentils. So I'm just gonna add some lentils right now. I have our green lentils. I spoke about using red lentils, but today we're just going to use some green lentils. We've already drained this and then rinsed them. And I'm just gonna add, I don't know, if you want it very meaty or like a lot of lentils, go ahead and just use it all. I'm gonna use about half of this container. And I'm also gonna toast the lentils up in this mixture. Add 1 more layer of salt because we're adding ingredients. So the salt levels, we really wanna make sure everything is seasoned. So just add like a pinch, and you can always go adding more later on.
I decided to use up all of the lentils. Why not? Because why save half of it? And I have a pet peeve for those who don't scrape out your bowl and like use every single bit of the ingredients in a bowl. So I made sure that I do it. Why waste ingredients, huh?
Let's talk a little bit about the spices that are needed for a very simple bolognese sauce. Usually you can definitely use like oregano, rosemary, basil, things like that. I like to use oregano. As you can see, it's just an organic oregano, or I like a blend. So this is Italian seasoning, organic of course. It has like oregano, marjoram, thyme, basil, parsley flakes, all of these things that are really good in a spaghetti sauce. I'm just going to use a combination. You can use either one. What makes it sort of Italian-y is the oregano and like the thyme and the basil. So if you have those 3, just use them up. I'm going to toast them in our sauce as well. I like to toast all of our spices because they bring out the flavors. So I have about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons worth. Just shake it on in there. About the same for oregano powder as well, or dried oregano leaves. I also have some basil here. You can just use some basil if you want to. May as well just put some on in there, like about a teaspoon. What I like to do is add some onion powder in there as well, because it is like an umami type of flavor. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of onion powder as well. I put this in everything. So then we're going to toast it. And I still have my heat on my setting is about 5. So I'm just going to toast this, and then it will bring out all the flavors of the herbs, kind of wake them up. And then we're ready for the crushed tomatoes. The tray was asking what a 5 is. So if you don't have a 5, it's just basically in the middle of any setting. So it's like medium heat. Because we're using lentils for our sort of meat or protein, we want to make sure that we put enough water in here to cook the lentils. So I'm putting about the same amount of water to the same amount of lentils that we use. So I put about a container's worth of lentils, so I'm just going to put about a container's worth of water. The lentils will absorb the water as it cooks, and then we're going to add the crushed tomatoes. When you're deglazing with the liquid, you're getting all of the bits and pieces on the bottom of the pan up, so all of that is flavor into your sauce. I just put in the crushed tomatoes. This is a good time to kind of taste it. It's not going to taste the same as when it's done cooking. It's going to be more tomatoey, so just keep that in mind. Don't be alarmed. So just give it a taste and see if the salt levels are there, if you like the seasonings that you put in there. If you want some more Italian, just put in some more Italian or some more onion powder or some more salt. I think mine is perfect. If I had some chili flakes, I would put it in here too, because I like a spicy spaghetti. But yeah, now it's just, I'm just going to bring the sauce up to a boil. We're gonna let it sit. The longer you cook it, the better. Bring it up to a boil. You're gonna turn it to like the lowest setting and then just, forget about it. Maybe come every 30 minutes to stir it every once in a while, just to make sure it's not burning. So yeah, just watch your sauce. Tomato sauce can burn very, very easily. What? I've learned the hard way. I've burned many sauces. So just keep an eye out for it. Don't blame me if you burn your sauces. Just make sure that you're really just paying attention to it. But it's not really like I gotta come. You wanna make sure that I'm constantly stirring it every 5 minutes. Nah, I'm gonna put a lid on it. I'm going to bring it up to a boil, turn it down, and then we'll just let it sit for about 30 minutes. So the thing about the spaghetti sauce is, obviously, if you can cook it, if you have time, the longer the better. If you have like a crock pot, of course, you can use that. I found that using a crock pot is a little bit different. I don't know what it is, like the searing of the vegetables, just like all the steps that we're taking to make this sauce delicious. You just really don't do that. I mean, I guess you could, but most of the time when you use a crock pot, you just kind of dump and go. So I like to do it on a stove. The longer that you cook, the better the sauce will be. So you can cook this for like an hour and a half if you can. Just cook it low and slow. Low and slow is always best. However, we have really hungry kids, and so I'm gonna cook this just until the lentils are cooked and the vegetables are soft, and just until the vegetables or the flavors are melding together. Then we'll be ready to go. Because we're doing it this way, I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit to like maybe medium high, about a 6 to a 7-ish. I want to make sure that I'm stirring, because lentils, when you're cooking with lentils will burn really easily as well. So lentils, tomatoes, they both burn, so just watch your sauce. So yeah, I'm just giving you a warning. It will burn. So covering it, I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit and just let it go. But I will be here cooking it. I will be here stirring it every like 5-10 minutes, just to make sure it's not sticking on the bottom and burning up. I hate that.
Why? Yeah.
The thing about the pasta is you want to make sure that now you're really just giving it some love, and you're going to move around your spaghetti as much as possible. So the directions typically say to cook spaghetti for about like 10-11 minutes or something like that. We're gonna cook it for about 6-7 minutes. We like it al dente. I don't like overcooked pasta. So when it is, whatever the package direction says, just do half of it. You can always cook it more in the sauce, but you can never uncook soggy pasta. Also, when it comes to pasta, if you're using fresh pasta, it's only gonna take like a minute or two to cook. So if you're using fresh pasta, don't cook it as a regular boxed pasta if you don't know that already. I'm gonna give this pasta a little bit of a taste. You can also gauge by using your tongs to see if it's hard enough or not. So let's just try it. It's gonna be hot, so that's good. I just got a little bit of, you want a little bit of chew to it. You don't want it too hard. There's a little bit of a bite to it. I'm gonna leave it for about 30 more seconds or so. And then you see all of this water. We're not gonna drain all of the water, the pasta water out, because it's all nice and starchy and it's already flavored with salt. So we're gonna reserve maybe like a cup or two. I like to drain my pasta and then just leave about a cup or two of pasta water into the pot. But you can do however you want to. The starchy water not only helps with the seasoning, but it also helps with like getting the pasta and the sauce kind of cohesive, and it will just kind of melt together and it'll be a really delicious velvety sauce. I forgot to mention one really crucial thing. If your sauce is not ready, do not drop your pasta, because your pasta only takes like less than 10 minutes to cook. So you want to make sure that the sauce is like perfectly done. It's nicely seasoned. It is all cohesive and meaty and delicious and ready to go. Don't start your pasta until the very end once your pasta sauce is ready. Our sauce, as you can see, is all ready to go. I'm not sure, you probably can't see this, but I did leave about a cup or so of water and liquid in the spaghetti. So typically whenever you're doing a spaghetti, or like when you go to a restaurant, you will see that a lot of chefs will put some sauce into like a pan, and then you usually get some of the pasta and then cook it in the same pan as the sauce. Well, we're gonna kind of mimic it for our home. You can definitely make this in a smaller scale, but I am going to just put the sauce into our spaghetti. So let me get a spoon. We're gonna use about 3/4 of this sauce. This sauce is so meaty. You can see the lentils in there. It smells really good. You can smell the garlic, the herbs in there, the tomatoes. The tomatoes are no longer acidic. It's more like a savory sauce, which is the best way to have this.
How do you get to the bottom?
Let me see. The more you mix it, the more the liquid is going to slowly absorb into the pasta. We've got some olive oil here. Like I said, we don't like to cook with the olive oil, but we're going to drizzle this just to add some yummy olive oil flavor, just to top it off. And now you can see the glisten of it. It's so good. Okay. And there you have it. Look at this gorgeous plate of pasta. Let's dig in. You added some olive oil too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Pray, hallelujah. Thank you so much for this yummy food. Thank you for blessing us with our beautiful spring day and helping us clean up today. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach.
Name we pray.
In the name we pray, hallelujah.
Mwah. You could hardly taste the olive oil.
You want more? How about that? This is so comforting. This is like, I know I wasn't raised eating spaghetti, but I do know good spaghetti. Like, it just tastes like home. It tastes homey. It tastes familiar. It tastes heartwarming. Oh, this is just like one of my favorite comfort foods.
I could taste it now.
It's a bit delicious.
Mm-hmm.
The lentils are nice and soft. Legitimately good. Like, I'm not, you guys, if those of you who have watched, you guys know that we don't really lie about food. If it's not good, we're gonna say it's not that great. But no, this is one of my absolute favorite dishes.
Next time we gotta make the meatballs.
Next time, Mercy said we need to make meatballs. I'll have to play with the recipe and try to come up with a good meatball recipe.
You could blend up the lentils
Mm.
and then all
Good idea.
the seasonings, make it into a ball, and then you could just cook it on the pan or cook it in the oven.
Good idea. Next time you can help me then. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I really hope that you learned a thing or two from today's video. We would love for you to like, share this content if you enjoy this content, and we would love to see you on our next video. So hit the subscribe button. It is free, of course. We will see you on the next one. Make some spaghetti bolognese, like now. It's so easy. Go do it.
Is it easy? Is it easy?
It is easy.
That looked long.